Hello, welcome back to CinemaBurger, where I bring you movie reviews from a different perspective. Today we're here to talk about the movie X-Men: The New Mutants. Now, originally this was supposed to come out at least 3 years ago in 2017, but it got pushed back due to rewrites and delays and then COVID, and it finally was released in theaters August 28th of 2020. Now, since Disney had bought Fox, they had planned on rebooting X-Men and bringing them into the MCU anyway. So even though they still released this is technically the end of the Fox X-Men movie franchise. Now this stars Maisie Williams, Alice Braga, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Heaton, and Blue Hunt and Henry Zaga. Now these are the 5 New Mutants. Now they wake up in a facility where they're being monitored and held against their will. Their powers have been starting to develop anyway, and they're held by this doctor played by Alice Braga. So now New Mutants was advertised as the first horror X-Men film, so it's implied that it's going to have some horror elements in it. Now the movie opens as Danny Moonstar is in her home reservation. She's Native American. And there's like a storm happening, and her father says she has to save town, and there's like loud noises and crashing. And then she wakes up in this facility. Now the other mutants are in there too. They're trying to figure out why they're there, how to escape. And it turns out something really bad happened to them, or things they've done, and that's why they're here. Anya Taylor-Joy has like dimension powers or something. She can open another dimension and she can create like weapons and things. Charlie Heaton plays Sam Guthrie. He has some sort of sonic energy powers or something. Oh yeah, another thing, the Sam Guthrie character is doing a horrible southern accent. Like, it's really bad. It's so bad it's like takes you out of the movie. Rain Sinclair can kind of turn into a werewolf. And Henry Zaga plays Robert De La Costa, and like produce the energy of the sun. So throughout the movie you get glimpses of their powers, and they look really cool, and the effects look good, and the doctor keeps saying if they are well behaved and get over their fears or traumas, they'll move up to her superior's facility. Now they think it's the X-Men, because they mention the X-Men once at least, loosely tying this to the X-Men movie universe. But that's about it that we get. I mean, turns out the doctor is a mutant also, and she creates force fields to keep the other people inside this facility. Now, this movie's about an hour and a half, but it felt like it really dragged. Because there is kind of a climactic battle, but it's like there is no villain. It's kind of like everyone has to face their fears. Turns out Moonstar can create like glimpses of everyone's fears, what they're reliving, into like reality. So they end up fighting a giant like dream bear thing, and then they like escape and like form their own team, I guess. But in terms of horror, it felt like a cheap PG-13 horror movie, like jump scares and things like that. There wasn't really any gore. Rain's powers look really stupid. I'm sorry, like I'm not fully versed in the lore of the New Mutant characters. I've read a little bit of the classic X-Men, but she basically just kind of turns into like a half werewolf. Now they establish a lesbian relationship with Moonstar and Rain, which is fine, but it didn't really go much anywhere. And I don't know, it was a very lackluster movie. I know it went through rewrites, and you can tell. And even the previous movie, Dark Phoenix, was a really sad way to end the X-Men franchise, but this is an even sadder way, I think. Because it's just very lackluster. They don't give us what they tease in the trailer and what they said, like an X-Men horror movie. I don't know, probably no reason to watch this, since X-Men's going to be brought into the MCU anyway. Just stick with the classic Fox X-Men movies, at least the good ones. The acting in it is okay. Nothing special, but not bad. And like I said, the mutants' powers look cool, the effects on those look good, but they don't show it enough. So I'd give the New Mutants a 1.5 out of 5 burgers. It's really not worth watching, I don't think. Unless you have to see every X-Men movie ever made. But if you don't, then you can probably skip this one and go watch the classic X-Men movies. Alright, I'm Scott Burger, and I'll see you next time.